Hi, my name's Sam. I'm the owner, co-owner with LaRoche of the label Sineru, and I'm here today with Bradley Baines to talk about our upcoming release, Heroine, on the 14th of February, which will be available on all streaming platforms for all of your ears to enjoy from then. And I just thought that we'd get him in the studio today and we'd have a bit of a chat about who Bradley is, why we've decided to do this, and just so you can get to know us a bit better before the track comes out. So without further ado, Bradley.
Hello, thank you very much, Sam. Yeah, I thought it'd be good, like Sam said, to come in and talk about myself a little bit, talk a little bit about what the song's about, why I wrote it, and what kind of listeners I think, what the listeners will be interested in, and why I think, for my words all the time. See, we were talking so well before the cameras came on. But yeah, no, so I've been making music since I was probably about 11 years old. When I was 12, I started my first band in school with a couple of 15-year-olds, and we were called Indigo Wild.
Good name.
Yeah. We made post-punk, post-punk kind of stuff.
Oh, right, okay. So it's not always been just the acoustic
No.
stuff.
So, and I was just a guitar player, but I wrote all the songs.
Yeah.
So I could probably actually send you a clip of A Perfect Waste of Time to put in right now, and it awfully produced kind of in the garage band. But it was good fun, and it kind of got me into writing music and writing about things that were going on. So I had a bad breakup when I was 13 at school, and we couldn't look at each other in the halls. So I wrote the song Perfect Waste of Time, and when you hear about it, it's like, it sounds like it's coming from like a 30-year-old who's going through like a divorce, and it's like, oh, I wish I was 60.
That feeling, that passion was there.
Like it was there from a young age. But yeah, and then that band happened. We used to play little gigs around Blackpool and like in pubs on Sundays. We all went to school to college and stuff, and that kind of fell apart. I just started doing gigs in local pubs. So like I'd never had a chance to sing because I don't know what happens in high school, but when you start a band, it's like, well, I have a guitar, and they're like, you're the guitarist. You can't really then be like, I want to be the singer as well. And I didn't really have the confidence in myself. Like after I kind of came away from the band, I started playing and singing myself. Wasn't the best, I'm gonna be honest. Like,
well, it takes time.
It's one of those things where I seen a video of myself singing the other day, and I sent it to my missus, and I said, turns out practice really does make perfect. Because it does help. It was scratchy. So it wasn't the best. I honestly think one of the biggest things that helped my voice, and everybody has said this, it was when I transitioned and I started taking testosterone. Obviously my voice dropped, and I think that it just, because I feel more confident in myself now, so there were notes where like I would go for, and it would feel really uncomfortable, like I felt my voice sounded too feminine for me before I had like hormones, and then after I took hormones, I don't think it was even that my voice dropping made my voice better, but I'm more confident in myself, and I like the way
it's
I
about
sound.
like developing that comfort in your own skin
100%.
and in your own body, which as a performer is something that you're going to depend upon, because that's what people are looking towards. And if you feel more yourself in your performance, which is, it's great that you would say that, and like that's the time that now you're like ready to, I'll come into the studio and I'll do something for real. It shows that like you see that in your confidence, and I think that's really cool. No,
it's sick, and it's cool because like now, even like some of the like there's some songs that I sing in a lower key, and I'm trying to get my voice higher to hit them, because I think that was a big thing about, in me, it was like, oh, the high notes are feminine or whatever, and it made me feel a bit different. But now I think it's impressive to be able to hit them. Do you know what I mean?
It is, got the best of both worlds.
You've got the range.
Fair.
But finding comfort in those notes now sometimes can feel a bit like you'll be able to relate when you start going through puberty and your voice cracks and stuff and breaks. It's exactly the same thing. Like there was times where I would like
you go through the same process.
Exact same. Your voice breaks. No,
Right,
there's times where I'm talking and I couldn't. You know, where you just like.
That's really interesting.
And there'd be times where like still now, if I go to like make a woo, like if I'm excited sound, my voice will break. Exactly. you know when you're like, you seen your mate playing live or something, you go to a gig and you're like, go on lad. If I shout, like it might squeak or break or nothing will come out. And that's like 5 years on hormones. So I've heard it's just something that sorts itself out. There's a guy who sings on the West End, a trans man, and he said it took 4 years for his falsettos to come back, and he was still being vocally trained day in, day out, but it took 4 years, and one day it just clicked, and he was just like, oh, there it is. Cool. And in the video, because he's obviously got progression videos of his performances, it was phenomenal just to see, and I think once again in him, it's that euphoria and the comfort in himself that came out.
Yeah.
And then the high notes he hits, it's just like, jeez.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is funny, I think, with high notes, because like people always ask me to sing James Blunt, You're Beautiful. That's a big one. Honestly, I don't.
So when you're out busking, do you take requests then? Like,
well, people just give them, but I'm quite.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're just
Right.
like, do you know this? And
Yeah.
I'll go, oh, well, no, but I know this one. They do.
Yeah.
Big one all the time for whatever reason is James Blunt, You're Beautiful, and I can't. It's just a high song.
Yeah.
It's just a really high song, and
It
I
is.
always sit there and I think to myself, I'm like, how does he do it though? Because it's so high, and thinking it's. But yeah, no, it's what's actually started affecting my writing. So
Yeah.
I've noticed that I wrote very comfortably for my voice, and some of the stuff I've been doing recently when I've been like, maybe like not even writing new songs but working on old ones, I'm like, oh, actually, that melody's really basic,
Yeah.
and I only went for that melody because it was all I could go for.
Yeah.
Maybe I could make it a bit more acrobatic,
I see.
and I find something in, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's actually a bit more comfortable, like,
Yeah.
and that sounds really cool. I'll
Yeah.
keep that, and then kind of go from there. Whereas before, I think I was a bit scared to, you know, take a step into any higher notes or any like lower notes, because I wondered where my voice would sit. But I definitely think in like the last 2 years, I've got really found a nice place in it. Yeah.
So how old are you now?
29.
You're 29 now.
Yeah, I
Right,
don't look
okay.
it. I'm 30 in July, but I don't think I look it. I get told all the time I get ID'd for monsters. So.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed 29. No,
29.
100%.
I've got a 10-year-old little girl.
Yeah.
And I've got a 4 and a 6-year-old stepson.
Yeah.
And fiance.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think I've got to this point. So I've just quit my job. I've just quit my job. I've
Okay.
completely like
Yeah.
I had a
Going
really,
all in with the tunes.
yeah, I had a
Good
really good
idea.
job. Worked
Yeah.
my way up in the NHS after
What were you doing in the NHS?
I was an outreach worker for one of the gender services.
Right.
So
okay.
as a trans
Oh, I
person,
see. Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So when I got it, I was like, oh, dream job. I was like,
Yeah.
I am a trans person, and
Yeah.
the job title was to support trans and non-binary people on the waiting list,
Okay.
because it's so long, it's like 7 years. And I loved my job at the beginning, but what I realised was it wasn't the job for me. I don't know how to put it. I was really struggling with what's called, in the clinical terms, empathetic burnout.
Right.
So
Yeah, I wonder about this with people that work in the NHS
In mental
all
health.
the time.
it's
Like,
how
how
do
do you
deal
not
with
go
it?
home with it?
I did, and
Yeah.
I think when I worked in mental health before that, I think it was very easy to just put it to one side.
Sure.
But when it was literal people who were coming to me, and I'm in the exact same situation because I was working for the NHS while on the NHS wait list,
Yeah.
so I pay £100 a month for my testosterone.
Right.
Like, and once I get my prescription in September,
Yeah.
I won't have to pay anything for that. The NHS will cover it.
Okay.
But I've been paying for that for 5 years, and there are people who aren't in a financial position to pay for it.
No, of course.
And they call me up crying their eyes out, and like, obviously, who can support me? And I'll go, like, we've got these groups, we've got this. Nobody wants to go in a group and sit in a room. They want answers. They want the NHS to get more doctors' appointments. They want
Right.
this. And although I do believe there is value in talking therapies, for me personally, I was really struggling with coming home every day,
Yeah.
hearing all, and also like decisions being made about trans people by people who weren't trans.
Right.
I just found it hard. And I had a breakdown. I called my boss and I went off sick, and then I just took ages thinking maybe it's stress, maybe it's this, and I realised that I just wanted to play my songs. Like, I'd come
Yeah.
home from work and I'd want to
Yeah.
write music, and I'd be too stressed from work. So I took 2 months off, and then I left,
Yeah.
and I'm just putting everything into music. So
Yeah.
going around care homes, singing in the daytime, which is
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, it's good fun. I'm doing Frank Sinatra.
Oh, nice. So
It's
you've
just-
got a real range then
Yeah.
with the performances that you're doing.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, I
That
do.
is
So I
cool.
do the Drifters, Elvis, Frank Sinatra, and Bobby Darin, and I put
Yeah.
my little shirt and tie on, and I go around the care homes. Insert clip, but and they love it, and that is keeping my like primary income, so that pays my rent. Is how I'm seeing it. Do you know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
But it's still music.
Exactly,
Which
it's
is
still music.
That's what you want to be. That's what you want to be. Yeah.
And then I do the busking in the days where I'm not at the care homes, and that's just kind of like, that's been really good for like social media engagement and building my
Yeah.
following up. So people meet me in person, they're like, oh my God, I love your voice, you should release music, you should go
Yeah.
on Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, you know, all the,
Yeah.
which I don't want to go down personally,
No.
but like,
Fair enough.
I think it's just, I don't know. I'm terrified and anxious. I don't think I'd want to go on telly in front of loads of people in a competition.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather just do it.
Well, it's
the
a
way
less
I'm doing it.
organic thing than what you're trying to do anyway. Which
Yeah.
I think is like what comes across with yourself.
Yeah,
and-
it's like no
yeah.
diss on, like, as One Direction. Genuinely, let's be honest, the biggest boy band in the entire world
Yeah.
came from X Factors.
This is true.
But if people say you should do this, and I go, well, I've got songs coming out, and they follow me there and then.
Yeah.
So the busking, I think, is really good. I think it's there's loads of people doing it nowadays.
Yeah.
There's a guy, there's a couple of people on TikTok that I really like, and one in particular is like a guy called Jason Allen, who literally he's organising a tour now of the UK from going busking. He's picked the cities where people come out and meet him from the TikToks the most, where he knows he's got fans.
Yeah.
And now he's doing a little mini tour, not big venues, but like
No, sure.
that's insane. Like,
It's a leg up, isn't it?
and he
Yeah.
only started releasing music a year ago. Like, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
he sold out most of
Yeah.
the venues, so that's incredible. I'd love to do something like that. Like, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. So I'm curious though. So who are some more of like the contemporary influences that you have? Like, because you're able to name people that you know online, not just like like Ed Sheeran or whatever, but those smaller. Do you have anyone that jumps to mind?
Alec Benjamin, so not small, but like just for songwriting.
Yeah, sure.
I'm obsessed with Alec Benjamin's like the way storytelling in his songs.
Yeah.
Every single one is just like, there's one that's called Must Have Been the Wind, about living above a couple that's like having a domestic violent relationship.
Okay.
And in a bit he's like, I'll sing on the roof, singing lean. I'll sit up on the roof with my guitar singing Lean on Me, just so she knows she can lean on me. And he's like, I knock on the door and she goes, it's fine, please go. And it's like, I'm getting chills thinking about it. It's a good, but it's good musically as well.
Yeah.
John Mayer, his songs as well. What's the one? Who says I can't get stoned? Turn off the lights and the telephone. I first heard that when I was like 13 in London, and I'd picked up a guitar magazine, and he was on the front, and I'd never heard of him before, and I was like, oh, and was obsessed. And then I've seen him in Twickenham later that year at the cricket stadium.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, he's big. He's a big one. My influence is like so strange because genuinely like it's like, my writing styles and the way I try and write songs, I take a lot of influence from Alec Benjamin, John Mayer, Mac Miller. Like, it's such like an out there one. But I would love to like, I'd love to make like an acoustic song that has like, you know, like a Mac Miller type beat in it. Just kind of, I've had a couple of songs that I've tried and like got something with. So maybe sometime in the future. But no, I really like them. I like Miles Smith. The guy who's been coming up in the UK at the moment, who's been doing the tours. I love his music. And then Alex Warren, once again, coming massive on TikTok. But I just think all of his songs are just like, loving his missus. And I think...
Well, they're all everyone that you just named is a very sentimental artist in some way. And that very much does come across in what you're trying to do as well. And it is about conveying like passion and you know, doing it well.
I think there's so many artists out there, especially in mainstream media, where it's like about getting drunk and meeting people and doing this, and that's so fun. And I've got a song called Breakup Sex that like I really think would do well. That is quite funny, but it's almost about being in a relationship. And but sometimes I don't know, I've had people say to me, like, why don't you write about this? And I'm like, because it's just not what comes to me.
No.
And I've never really had a lot of luck, you know, being like, right, I'm going to sit down and write a song today.
Yeah.
Like, Heroine was wrote when Kira had her headphones on. She had headphones on and she was on her iPad doing some tattooing, like drawing on Procreate.
Right.
And we weren't like... We'd had a bit of a tiff, to be honest, but like in kind of like a married couple tiff, like you've not done the dishes and I've been at work all day kind of thing. So we're just doing separate things in the same room. Yeah. And I was just playing on my guitar and I just wrote the whole song in the space of about 45 minutes.
So it was a good one. It's when it comes out quickly, that's when you know that like, the song's alright.
And I just said to her, so will you take your headphones off? And she was like, why? Like, what do you want from me? And I'm like, I want to play you a song. And we'd been together like 6 months, and bear in mind being a musician, one of the big, when are you going to write a song about me? When you go, other than when you're putting a ring on it, do you know what I mean? I got that one out of the way. She was like, when's the song coming? And I played it and she was like, is that about me? Is that about me? And I was like, yeah. She was like, I really like that. She was like, are you going to try and record it? I said, yeah. And then I recorded it on my phone, I sent it to you. And I remember saying to her, I said, I don't think I want anything else. And I came in the studio that day, I said, I think I just want it to be that stripped back. And I listened to it on the way here and I just remember thinking it's all I wanted. It's how it's come out is how I pictured it.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad. Like when you did approach me with it, I heard it and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. And like it really lent into the way that we like to produce. Because what I've always said about how I want to be as a label is to be producers that you're able to come to, and we're looking to present you as who you are. Not to take someone into the booth and say, right, let's make you sound like X pop artist and just make it work because it's going to. It's always been for me a mindset of wanting to like keep the what makes the performance itself so interesting 100%. And preserving what you actually were conveying in the original demo that you sent me. If what we end up with is some overproduced piece of whatever, then that's not really capturing what you are.
No,
so to hear you say that, I'm very grateful that we've come to this point where we can look at the work we've done and go, yeah, sweet, that's actually what we both wanted to achieve with this. So
100%, and I love that from you, because I remember sending you those songs of Cameron Whitcomb the other day, and I was like, this type of production, because I feel like, especially when we go from the back of doing a completely stripped back acoustic track, and I'm like, okay, more. this is like, it's a fast song. Sorry, I'm gonna mess up the sound there, but it's a fast song. It's up tempo. And I'm like, I want it full band. What does full band mean? Does full band mean Slipknot? Does full band mean Green Day? And it's only recently.
Slipknot would be interesting.
But then I heard, I was listening to those songs, and I listened, and instead of just listening to it as a consumer, I'm listening to it as a musician who's trying to give, like, tips and how are we going to produce this song. And I was like, well, when I listen to that song, even though that is a full band, that's not what my brain thinks is full band. And then I was like, oh, hold on, this might be that autistic black and white thinking thing coming through, and I need to explain this a bit better. So that's why I messaged you, and I was like, I even said to Kira, I was like, I think it's more of just a... Do you know, like, rather than a full drum thing. And
we were looking for some gang claps.
Exactly. And shouting and like building the. And I just think I've said it to you before. I remember when we first came in, I was like, I don't think people appreciate the value of producers enough, because it's all well and good being like, oh, I can play and I can do this, but like I don't know anybody personally, like, other than people who are extremely successful, like on a personal level, who does everything themselves. No, like, do you know?
No, I don't think it's worth it.
And enjoys it. Do you know what I mean?
Comes out of it happy and stable.
110%. Like, it's people are good at things because they're good at things. You know what I mean? When you buy a car, the brakes come from somewhere, the tires come from somewhere, because they're good at making them. And if one person made everything, it would probably be a bit shit.
I don't think not just shit, but I don't think possible, to be honest. Like, just Heroine alone, the stripped back acoustic piece required yourself to write it. The obviously the building to facilitate the recording of it, the two of us to record it, a session player and a mastering guy. And this is quite a simple piece of music 100%. That we've done, and for it to come out to the level that it has required a team of people. And again, with the label, what I want to have is an environment of people that know each other and get on with each other 100%. And actually can get together to pull stuff like that off and be like, this is a decent piece of work. Doing it all by yourself, I mean, it might be fun and you might be able to turn around and say, oh, look at me, but I just don't think
but
it's
that's
worth
all it
it.
is. It's bragging rights.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it is bragging rights.
Maybe the royalty rights as well. I mean, that's probably on some fair few people's mind, to be honest.
So on the note of royalty rights, do you ever hear the story, the Simon Cowell Triangle story?
No, go
on.
Tell me.
So back in the day, right, Simon Cowell used to be a session musician on everybody's things.
Oh God!
And the way he would get around it, he would play the triangle. Right, okay. So he would, and this is known. He would go in and he would ding, and then he was allowed to claim extra rights on it.
Yeah. You would have performance rights.
And I remember reading, like, I learned this back in high school, and I was just like, what? And now I kind of track back, and I'm like, wait. And it was but it wasn't just him. This was a big thing that happened quite a lot in the 80s, where people would come in, and producers would take advantage of things. On that note, I've had producers that I've gone to work with before. One guy wanted me to pay him for one track, £1,200, and wanted a 60-40 split. So he got 40, I got 60.
So upfront and a 60-40.
And yeah.
See, now that's peak. That is peak.
And literally, like, he had a home studio, fair enough, all good, mate. Like, it sounded whatever, but like, he was just, it was one day I could go down there, I could spend one day with him, and then the rest of it would be over the phone kind of thing and stuff like that. And I was just like, it's a lot of money, bro. And he was like, you could pay for an extra session.
Yeah, you can pay me more. That's fine. Yeah, I'd love that.
But I don't know. I've never personally, like, when I've been going around recording studios, it's one or the other. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not many places that will come in and say, record your track with us, and then they're like, hello, here's the master. No, sign the contracts. But it was before even, in with the prices, I got an 11-page document. So there definitely is people out there who are willing to make money in that way. I don't know. I noticed that quite a lot of the people in the demos that he does is like younger kids. So, you know, like, the parents have got money. And I think that's quite a good thing to get into, though. Do you know what I
probably
mean?
a good business model.
Yeah, it's a really good business model. Like,
Yeah.
I will make your kids famous. I only want 40% and pay me here. But yeah.
That's quite interesting, actually. You giving us ideas.
Giving ideas
there. Yeah.
Well, honestly, there's money to be made in music, and I think the thing is, a lot of people think it's just one avenue. But I have the care homes. I've got pubs. I do, some of the I do try not to do cabaret bars anymore, just because it kills my soul. But I do cabaret bars every now and again.
You don't want to sell yourself out like that.
It's not even selling myself out. I don't like the songs. So
okay,
it's like Crocodile. Right, no problem with Elton John, but when you're singing Crocodile Rock, YMCA, Uptown Get whoa, for you do one bar and then you go to the next one because it's a strip in Blackpool, so you do Mark Kelly's North, Central and South,
right,
and you get 150 if you do all 3 bars in one night. And you're knackered by the end of it.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. But good fun, and it's a lot of learning experience for yourself, as a performer, really. I
think because being on stage is awkward. It's really hard. When I was busking the other day, a girl came up to me and pretty much it was quite amusing. She came up to me and said, "I've got songs. I wrote songs. How do I release them?" Because she'd heard that I was releasing a song.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she was like, how do I want to find a record label, I want to do this. She was very young kind of thing, she was lovely. But she came up and she started singing, she asked me if she could sing a song on my microphone, and she did. And she was holding on to it like this, and she was stood really, really still when she came off. And she was like, "Can you give me some tips?" And I said to her, I was like, "Loosen up." I was like, "And pretend no one's looking at you, because they're not." But I was like, and then I started singing, what was it? It was some, "You to me are everything, the sweetest song I can sing." Do you know that song?
No.
No,
I
I'm showing my age now. But it's an older song, and it's I was singing that, and there's an instrumental in it, and that was the bit where she was stood there, just kind of not knowing what to do, looking at me this is where I don't know.
Sure, right.
So I had an instrumental, so I showed her, and I started literally just I can't dance, but you
move.
You move. 100%.
At all, yeah.
Stage presence is so massive.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think practice, just any place where I can be in front of people is great for me, because I get anxiety anywhere, but I love doing it.
What's the maddest thing that's ever happened to you while you're out performing in the street? Because if you're out in the street with people and the general public, it's not the same as being at a gig venue. I'd
say, do you know what? Up until today, I've genuinely not had the maddest stuff. Obviously, I had someone come up to me today just giving me abuse just for being there. I didn't even get my guitar plugged in, and I left because I'm
not even plugged in. No, literally just.
I've got the video, and I'm trying to plug.
You.
Honestly, I feel I agree. They were just causing drama, so I left. But I'll say I can give you interesting things I've been given as an alternative to money. Yeah. So one woman once saw me drinking my Monster, and she goes, "I don't have any money, but I've got this energy drink," and she gave me this Levi Roots energy drink. It was bomb. Okay. Try the Levi Roots energy drink.
He did that. Okay, no. Cool.
I got given a Cadbury's cream egg. I got given a box of Pro Plus last week, and a bottle of aftershave. Same guy. He said, I've got no money. Do you want some Pro Plus? And I went, yeah.
Why not?
It's really rude to say no. Do you know what I mean? So I'm
yeah,
cool, mate. Put it in. And then after I was done, he was like, "You've proper cheered up my day." He was like, "Do you like aftershave?" And I went, "Yeah." And then he opened his bag, and you get the lucky men in Tenerife. I think he just sold fake aftershave around town.
That was his thing.
And he just went, "This is meant to be Paco Rabanne 1 million. It smells really nice. Yeah. It's a full big box."
That's sweet.
So I came home with about couple of notes, a box of aftershave and a box of Pro Plus for the day.
Solid.
I've been quite lucky. I mean, I stay relatively local. I want to try Manchester, but I've heard that Manchester can be.
So where is it that you're performing most at the moment then? Sorry.
Blackpool and St Anne's.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm going to try Lytham as well, which is they're both kind of little seaside towns.
Yeah.
But they've got quite a lot of foot traffic. They're very restaurant towns, so people kind of sit outside more, and they've got a nice prom. So it's just good for people going by. Yeah. But apparently Manchester Arndale is a good earner, but it's quite annoying. I've seen people with the videos, and people come up behind you, they want to get on the live. People find it quite funny.
No, definitely.
I don't get it, me. I don't find it.
Wanting to jump on somebody else's live.
Yeah, I get when you're drunk and stuff, but sometimes it's just no, it'll just be some random 40-year-old man just
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, it's not Sky News.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no, true. All 10 people say hello back to you.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. But I mean, you see people a lot in Arndale, and like you say, it's gonna be a bigger earner.
you're only
probably.
allowed to do an hour.
Sorry?
You're only allowed an hour. So
Really?
So yeah. So all the different councils have different busking laws.
Oh, right.
Or rules, a code of conduct, and in Manchester, the code of conduct is you should move on after an hour and you shouldn't come back the same day.
So if so the police could turn up
They could,
theoretically, and
so the idea
to
is
pack it
if
in.
somebody, I think the reason it's there is if a shop has somebody outside who's like maybe not very good or maybe a bit too loud or is just scaring away customers, they can call the police and say they've been here for an hour and a half, can you please move them on? We tried asking them politely. I think that's what it's there for, but it's not anywhere else. It's literally just Manchester that I've looked up north.
That's
anyway.
interesting. I wouldn't even have thought about the legality of busking, but then I suppose there's obviously you
need
public
liability insurance. Yeah, that's £7 a month I pay.
Yeah.
I only got it purely to do the care homes as well. I had to get my equipment pat tested as well.
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, no, it's like £7 a month.
So there's more that goes into it. It's not just a bloke stood there with a guitar.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is when I said to the woman today, I was like, I'm trying to work, please. And she's just like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
But yeah, no, it's there's certain places where you have to apply. So like Liverpool's a big one, but obviously because of the culture from like the Beatles and stuff, you have to apply, and like there's certain spots. So most of Liverpool you can't take an amplifier. There's only 2 spots in Liverpool on the busking spots that you're allowed to take an amplifier, and they normally get booked for people like more than 2, so like duos, trios, bands.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's quite a few places. There's loads of different things. The amplification one's a weird one because, I mean, I don't even think I'm that loud when I've got the amp. When you're out in public and you've got the background noise of the street.
Yeah, sure.
I think it would be very hard to do it without an amp.
I think it'd be almost impossible to do it, really, wouldn't it? Because unless you're having a little like crowd form around you, I mean, that'd be lovely and very intimate. But
have you ever seen Ren?
No.
Do you know who Ren is?
Oh, I do know Ren actually.
The that's what he literally gets. He busts in Camden, and people just sit and make like a semicircle on the street around him, and he never has an amp half the time. But that's because it's public safety laws. But, no, Ren's fantastic. I'd love to. I like watching him as well because he doesn't do his own music when he goes busking. He does like whatever songs he wants, and they're never they're older songs like I do. Do you know what I mean? I play a lot of like songs that people walk past and they go, I've not heard that in years. And I like doing that. I like doing different stuff. And he spurs me on because I'm like, well, he's doing well and he's still busking and he's still getting himself out there. So
very well. One thing that I do want to ask you a bit about is just with social media. Like for you, have you been? Because your account is, like, in my opinion anyway, somewhat successful. How long have you actually been grinding away at doing that alongside the busking and stuff like
that? So the TikTok, I'd say I've been grinding up on my social media for probably about three years.
Okay.
It took off in July 2022, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had my top.
A minute.
Well, basically, I had my top surgery. I got my tits chopped off, and everyone thought he's handsome now. Honestly, I swear down. I posted the video. That's a lie, and it wasn't even how handsome I was. It was because they tried to kill me.
Okay.
So basically, they do this thing where they like give you your chest reveal. 10 days later, they take the bandages off and re-bandage you so you can see your chest.
Right.
And I was led down, and as the woman's like cutting with a knife these stitches out of my nipples. Her phone rings and she picks it up with the gloves on and just carries on doing the nip. And my partner at the time was recording it. So I posted it on the line and it got like 3 million views. Everyone was like, you're going to get an infection. But from that, I got loads of followers who followed me because I was trans and then came and stayed for the ride. That kind of just grew over time. I think once I started posting a bit more consistently, that's a big thing. Like when I post consistently, I do better. Which is on myself, accountability, trying to stay consistent. But I'm doing the bus, so the busking's a big, easy one because I just go live and then I don't have to make content so much to speak. So,
you're doing it.
The live records, so I can just download it. So if anything happens, I've got the video afterwards. So normally I just, whatever song I sang best that day, I'll clip that one and I'll post that, and then it's kind of, people are seeing me for the day. Social media's a weird one because I don't think TikTok. I think TikTok can be really successful for you, but I think Instagram is like, is more valuable, and I don't think I have that much of a valuable Instagram. I'm trying to convert it at the moment.
Do you mean in the sense that like the people that watch your stuff on Instagram are more likely to actually connect with it than
100%.
someone just flicking past
Yeah,
it
if I
on
post
TikTok?
something on Instagram, I get way more engagement. But like if music wise,
Yeah, sure.
whereas like because people have gone from there to follow like But yeah, on TikTok I don't get as much music engagement, so that's one thing that I'm trying to kind of like navigate around at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be good. I think with the Heroine release, I think I've been trying some different kind of posting methods. So I've been trying to do some like funny ones. I've got a flat roof, so I'm gonna just sit on my roof and get Kira to be like, "What you doing?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I'm just playing my song." You know what I mean? And then it goes into it. Random ones.
No, I think you should. I think you should. Yeah, I think leaning into the humour of it would be a good idea. Not the humour of the tunes themselves, because they're, you know, Heroine is an emotional ballad.
Yeah,
and then Charlotte obviously is a tune that you're writing about addiction and recovery and stuff like that. But in your marketing content and trying to like convey who you are, then I think people would probably enjoy to watch that a lot more than if you just sat there like moping the whole time. Which by all means you can do that if you'd like to. That doesn't seem to be who you are.
This is the thing. I think you can. Do you know when you were saying about the humour thing? I don't know why, but my little ADHD brain is like, oh my god, I should like for Charlotte in the videos, I should like line up bits of flour and like like come into it and then oh no, he's just baking a cake. Do you know what I mean? And like slide it off and then start playing. But all those little tiny things where it's like switch people like on TikTok.
Yeah. Know your audience.
It's so interesting how things do well though.
Yeah.
The guy, as I told you, who his band got 500,000 or I can't remember how much it was streams in one day through this one TikTok he posted. Once again, it was a chest reveal. He'd had his top surgery and he literally just said, "Oh my god, I've come out of surgery and my song's just been released. Please go follow it." And people just was like, beautiful. And it literally, that you want to look at their Spotify, it's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. I've never seen anybody get like 1 million streams that fast. Like it was phenomenal. But and they have like I think a 7,000 following. So that didn't convert to TikTok people, do you know what I mean? To followers. The streams, people go and listen to a song but like still not fans. Yeah. Or following. I think that'd be interesting to find out how to convert that.
Yeah, no, it's something that we think about a lot ourselves, really, as not being established at all. Really, now it's going from how do we find people that are actually interested in what we want to do, and where are they and what do they
you
want?
Should follow. Plant Pot Records is a person in Preston who's starting their own record label.
Right.
They have a studio in Preston and they're looking for people at the moment on a like what you're doing kind of thing, like the contracts kind of thing, like it's a bit commission based. I'm looking for writers, I'm looking for musicians, studio session musicians who will work on commission based. I don't know if that might be useful for you guys to look into.
I think
or even just to see how he does his TikTok. Because he's got quite a few followers on TikTok just from literally saying, and I know it's funny, but I'm a record label looking for musicians, and all the musicians go. It works. Do you know what I mean?
When you're able to present yourself properly, and I think the presentation is just a reinforcement of the fact that like you can trust us. Like we're gonna we want to look after you and come out with a product that we both enjoy, and we're not gonna mess you about with the money. So I think that's all that I want to get out there really from our point of view. It's, even with working with yourself and doing stuff like this, is like this is what we want to keep doing with 100%. People. I never want to turn around and then be like
see you in a bit.
Backroom corporate guy, take your money. It doesn't interest me because I don't think it's very conducive to actually good or entertaining work. No. It's a bit of a turn off for me, like just as a consumer.
It almost sounds like the easiest way to get to the end result of a musician leaving their producer in the end and on bad blood. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a lot of in the music industry you hear about is people having bad relationships with producers or producers overstepping lines, especially with like women in the music industry as well. So I think it's really important to make yourself look like a safe person in the industry because it's that thing. It's not everybody, but there's enough people out there where it makes people worried. You know what I mean? And I think it's really important to get out there and give that brand image. Brand identity.
I did want to ask you because obviously Heroine's coming out on the 14th on all streaming platforms. About Charlotte as well. So just if you wanted to give us a bit of background on the tune that we've worked on to follow that from your process as a songwriter, like, where does it come from? What's that about?
So I wrote Charlotte after finding Cameron Whitcomb. He'd released a song that was It was something about. It was about it was just like a really sarcastic song to the girl's dad. And it was like, I know your daughter, it starts off like, I know your daughter doesn't deserve this. I always told her she was perfect. And then it's like, but I've got too many women in my phone. It's a very sarcastic song, right? And he's like, yeah, whatever. But it was a song that made you want to kind of like, if you heard it in a pub or if you heard it in your car, you tap to it. Sure. And I really like when songs are like, sarcastically kind of like, towing on the line of being a bit rude, but like, so I really liked it, and I was like, oh, I really like that. There was like a lot of metaphors in his song and stuff, and I don't know if it was just me, but like from someone who's been an addict and done cocaine and been a binge drinker and put all those things before anything else in my life because that's all that seemed important. I thought, I really want to write a song about my addiction, but how do you do that without being like, yeah, I used to smoke weed and do lines and da-da-da. Like, it comes across so unauthentic. Yeah. So I was like, I want to write a song, and I said to Kira, I was like, I want to write a song about cocaine, but as if cocaine is a girl. Yeah. And she was like, okay. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know where I'm going with it, but like, just like, there was a comedian once who did this bit, and it was all about how they used to be an addict and they find it really hard going to parties now because their friends do not understand how much cocaine ruined their life. Yeah. And they said, if cocaine was an ex-girlfriend of mine, right, and she'd taken all my money, right, I'd lost my house because of her, my parents won't speak to me, my dog has been taken off me because I can't feed it, my kids, I'm not allowed to see it, all this, right? My mates wouldn't fucking bring her around to a house party and do her in front of the table with me.
No, probably not.
And I thought to myself, whoa. I was like, okay, yeah, that's so true. And there's a bit in Charlotte where it's like his friends won't say you're bad for him because they won't. Because most of your mates, when you're doing coke and when you're doing drugs and stuff, if you're sharing the bag with them, they're not going to be the ones saying you probably shouldn't get that, mate. Do you know what I mean? If you've got the money in your pocket. And I think it was a really weird point in my life when I realised I was like, oh, if I'm not buying, it's not coming in, or people aren't coming around, or things. And I realised a lot of the people I had around me were only around me because I was funding their night out, or I was, all these other things. And I was just like, and the coke wasn't making me feel good. It was making me feel anxious, but every day I was going back to it. So I just, and the tissues keep on piling up. The blood's still there, but he's not cut. My nose, like my tissues by the side of my bed, I used to literally have, I'd go for like a roll of toilet paper, like after a fucking heavy session, and I'd just be blood. I'd have like chunks coming out of my nose, graphic, but it was awful. Yeah. And I didn't care. I'd go back out and do it the next night. My mates didn't give a shit, and it took to the point genuinely of me thinking I was about to lose everything in my life. Like one of the people that was giving it to me to literally do me over. Literally, I was really badly done over. I had all the money that I had in my bank account taken off me. Like I got done, and I was a little bit of a wuss at the time, and they said, go on your online banking. I transferred the money to him. I didn't call the police. I didn't do anything. I went home and I said, I'm not touching that again.
Rock bottom moment.
Yeah, I went. Do you know what's funny, right? I went to an ex-girlfriend's house and I cried on a bed, and she threw a loaf of bread at my head. That story's so not important, but like for my entire life, I remember this breaking decision in my mind where I was sat on this girl's sofa. I had a girlfriend at the time, but I didn't want to tell her what was going on. And I went to my ex's, and I was like, I just don't know what to do. I don't know if I should leave town or if I should do this. And she threw a loaf of bread at my head and stop fucking crying. Yeah. She went, just go get a job. Yeah. And just sort your shit out. Yeah. So I got a job with the NHS, and then. Now I've left it to music, but that was like 5 years ago. But it was genuinely, it just took, there's some little moments in my life where I was just like, no, it just can't go on anymore. Yeah. And there was so many times where I had said to everybody, I'm quitting. I'm done now. I'm not going to do it again. Would happen. Oh, I'm never going to do it again. And then a party would come up. And I was so adamant so many times that I was ready to quit, and I wasn't. And it's the point now where I know that people will not quit. Like you can offer to help someone as much as you can, but unless they're willing to help themselves, you literally can't. It's our mind is stronger than anything. And if you don't want something, you're not going to have it. If you like doing cocaine on the weekends and it's still giving you joy and stuff, it's going to be really, really hard for you to step away from it. I don't speak to anyone. I literally, from that moment, that day, I just cut off everybody. The girl that I was with at the time was still doing it afterwards, like with her mates and stuff, and that's what eventually broke us up. I have a song about that that's really good. I'll play that for you after, but it's I think it was just a big moment in my life where I was like, I'm not gaining anything, I'm literally just losing anything. My relationship with my parents and my daughter was like in the ground. And I think writing Charlotte for me was really kind of like healing and just being like, you literally ruining my life. You're like, you just need to walk away. And like I'm talking to a girl, but at the end of the day, at the end of the song, it ends and it's like, no, I'm getting clean. It's like, because I can't tell Charlotte to go away. Yeah. Nobody can. No. You have to leave her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it was very healing. I like that song, and I can't wait for it to come together.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm looking forward to putting out Heroine as well. It's been really, really nice to have a bit of a chat about what we're up to at the moment. And cool. Man, we will definitely be doing more work together and sharing that through the label. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the tune will be out on February the 14th. On all streaming platforms. Thank you.